Hey y'all, it's Siobhan Muir. Welcome back. Today we're doing brunch recipes. And the reason why I do brunch is because, well, I'm really hungry. And also, nobody likes to get up early on Sunday mornings, but everybody likes to eat. So we're doing things that are breakfasty, but they are really tasty and fun and a little more than just, put the eggs in the pan, call it good. So today we're doing a recipe called eggs goldenrod. And while that seems kind of a strange thing, think about the yolk of the egg. Most of them are pretty brilliantly yellow or orange. Granted, it's better if you have farm fresh eggs, but in any case, what you're going to do is you're going to use the yolk as a garnish on basically biscuits and gravy. But this is a gluten-free biscuit, and the gravy is so good. It's got garlic in it. It's wonderful.
It's an egg gravy.
And it's an egg gravy, and it's not like the thick gravy you get in truck stops. This is a really good one. I don't like biscuits and gravy. I can't stand them. But this is a really great recipe, and it's a crowd pleaser. Everybody loves it. There is no leftovers. Mm-hmm. So, Mr. SM is more capable at this recipe than I am. But I'm going to tell you, we're going to work on the biscuits. The eggs are already boiling, and then we'll show you how it all comes together.
Mm-hmm. And this is the first time we're going to make this gluten-free, so this is going to be a little bit on the fly.
It's not the first time. You've made it gluten-free before.
Okay, well, I don't remember making it. But with that said, Siobhan's going to be giving me a couple extra pointers on how to make the biscuits at least flow so we can be formed.
Because the problem with the gluten-free flour is it's a lot drier. So you're going to have to add a little extra liquid to make it do what you want. It's gonna taste great. It's gonna look good, but you're going to have to add a little more moisture.
Right. And the only other change between the normal recipe and what we're doing here is I did 1.5 times the eggs, because the egg sauce is really, really, really good.
So what I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you the ingredients so you kind of know what you're looking forward to, and then we'll start putting it together. You're going for the biscuits. Mm-hmm. For the biscuits, you're going to need 2 cups of flour, 4 teaspoons, and this is just. Are you doing any extra this one?
Nope.
Okay.
We're doing the full size.
Okay, so 2 cups of flour, 4 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 cup of milk, half a teaspoon of salt, and 1/4 cup of vegetable shortening. We are actually using vegetable shortening, Crisco. I think, we haven't tried it, I think you could probably get away with using coconut oil because it has the same consistency as Crisco. However, we haven't tried that, so we can't vouch for it.
Right.
And we know this works, so we're going to do this right now, but we'll make an addendum if we ever redo it, to see if coconut oil works. Because again, it's the same consistency. And most of my recipes that I have to use Crisco in, I have substituted coconut oil for it.
Okay.
All right, so that's what you're going to need for the biscuits. But you're also going to need hard-boiled eggs. And this recipe technically calls for 6 eggs. We're doing 9.
Yep.
And because we have a larger group that we're making it for. So you're really going to need, but you should boil the eggs before you do the recipe, because you're going to put it all together all at once. So the eggs have to be boiled. So definitely hard boil your eggs.
Now, a trick when you're doing hard-boiled eggs is not only do you normally add a little bit of salt to the water to add the heat, throw a little bit of baking soda in. It will help the eggs peel. The shell will peel off the egg. So it's going about 10 minutes already, so this will go off in about 5. It's already got the salt, it's got the baking soda, and the eggs are going. So when it's done, we'll pour it off, we'll get it cooled as fast as possible, and then we'll put everything together.
Right, so now we're going to start on the biscuits.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you're going to need 2 cups of flour, and we of course use the Bob's Red Mill 1-to-1 gluten-free flour. It works great, it tastes good, there's no aftertaste, and it does what you want it to do.
This is great flour.
It is great flour.
1 cup.
And it says put flour and shortening in a bowl. So you're going to add the shortening, and you're going to need 4 tablespoons of it, and you're going to add it to the flour. It says add the flour and shortening, but wouldn't you want to add the baking powder and salt to to mix it together.
I usually add everything
Yeah.
and then I put the shortening together.
So what I would do, just like him, is I put the flour, the salt, and the baking powder, put all the dry, dusty ingredients together all at once because they mix a lot easier, and then add the shortening. We found that to be
4 teaspoons of this.
so. Put all the dry ingredients together because then you can whisk it together and it works really well.
2. I need the salt. Where'd the salt
Right.
go? You're stealing my salt?
I didn't touch it. I found it there. We did buy another one of those, didn't we?
I don't know.
It was on the list. It was on. Really?
Okay. It's about a half teaspoon. It might be a little short, but it might be just enough. Okay. And then shortening 1/4. So now Siobhan has converted a lot of her recipes to using coconut oil, and I still use shortening from time to time on some of the few things I bake. Partly because I find that, like for biscuits, it allows it to be fluffy and so forth. And sorry. But we will try this with coconut oil.
Yeah, we will. I like it better because Crisco leaves kind of a little bit of a chemical flavor to me because it's made from oil, and I don't like it. So I've changed to using coconut oil because the consistency is the same.
So let's stir it together a little bit so the dry ingredients are blended. And then I do have a pastry knife because I will be cutting in the biscuit or the Crisco. So
It's nice to have this pastry knife because it helps you mix the stuff that seems pretty solid into all of the flour. If you don't have a pastry knife, don't worry about it. You can use just a regular butter knife. It takes a little longer, it's a little bit more of a pain in the butt, but it still works like a pastry knife. Is you want to just kind of just cut it in, and that's what it's literally cutting it in.
and the thing is, and if you really want to go old school, using your hands and getting dirty does work just fine. But I prefer the pastry knife. It makes everything so much cleaner. Perfect. The eggs are done. We'll let them chill. Take them off the heat. And you just want to cut up the shortening enough so that it's just, flaky. But you're still going to have a lot of flour in here. So now that it's been blended in, we just added 1 cup of milk. Any milk will work. Since a lot of the family is sensitive to cow milk, we generally shifted everything over to goat milk, but any milk will work. I think we even tried this once with heavy cream because it's all we had.
It was good.
It was good. It worked. Okay. So while Siobhan's working on that, I'm going to just add the milk. You want to, as she read off in the recipe, you want to have it where it will soften up or be able to form into a ball. And this is where the hands get dirty, and I forgot to take my ring off, which is going to be real good.
Well done. Well done.
Yep. And so you're going to want to make this into a ball, and then we're going to roll it out, and then we're going to cut biscuit. Thank you, Tor.
So here, if you do not have a cookie cutter, this is one of those like jam or mason jar lids. It works just fine. Is this one too big, or didn't you like them smaller?
Well, I found that if it's too small, they dry out.
Especially with this recipe.
Yeah. So now.
That's a good point. Often when we made these before with regular gluten flour, we would do smaller ones, about half the size, right? And then you had a whole bunch of them, and you cut them in half, and you lay them out, and then you add the eggs and stuff. With gluten-free flour, because it is drier, do you need more liquid?
I think I do. What do you think?
Yeah, I would.
Okay,
It
how
looks
much?
like Not much. Maybe a tablespoon?
All right, throw in a tablespoon.
Yeah, we'll do it so you can see it.
So right now, this is what it is a little on the dry side.
I had to find a tablespoon. So this is a tablespoon. I'm just adding a tablespoon of liquid. Because you don't want too much. You want to make a dough, and you don't want it squishy.
Yeah.
But you do want it to be able to be put together. I think that's enough. I don't think you want any more than that.
I think this is good, and the flour will absorb it.
Yeah. I think that's
so
good. I will take this out of the way.
Yep, we're done with that for now. At this point, go ahead and turn on your oven to 425. Because we're at altitude, we're gonna up it a little bit. Let's try 430 this time. And then,
oh, that's a nice. That's a good job. That's just the right amount of liquid, and to make good biscuits.
Yeah. So you want to roll it out to about 3/4 of an inch, half an inch, somewhere in that neighborhood, and then we're gonna cut out discs. But I do like using the top of a mason jar because it just makes everything nice and neat. And also, when I roll it out, it should be about the thickness of the jar. And then once you're done with the first round, you then roll it back up and do the next.
Yum! Then what you're doing here is you're actually making the base item that you're going to put everything on top of. So it's like literally eating eggs and toast.
I know I'm doing something really weird.
You are.
Bear with me.
I kind of like that idea. Nice! The sun and the moon.
You can keep them like that if you would like.
I do. I'm gonna do that. Okay, so now that we've made our artsy fartsy biscuits, the oven just went off, so we're gonna put it in the oven and we're gonna bake it for 12 to 15 minutes. We're gonna start with 12. It's a new oven. So we're gonna start with 12 and see how it goes, and then we'll adjust after that. And while we're doing that,
I'll put this in while you talk.
okay. While we're doing that, then we're going to make what's basically the egg gravy. And you'll need to peel your eggs, which we haven't done yet. You'll need to peel your eggs, and then we'll show you how to do this. But once you peel the eggs, you're going to need 4 tablespoons of butter, 4 tablespoons of flour. We have our flour.
Yep.
You'll need 2 cups of milk. And we're doing, are you gonna change that based on how many eggs?
So we're gonna do 1.5.
All right, but I'm giving you the basic, all right? So 4 tablespoons of butter, 4 tablespoons of flour, 2 cups of milk, 6 hard-boiled eggs that are cooled-ish.
It's cold enough.
Salt, pepper, dried parsley, diced garlic, dried diced onion, and these are all to taste. And we're onion and garlic people, so there's going to be plenty. But do you want some help?
I will, but
okay.
One of the challenges is when you boil eggs and you remove them, the easiest way to get the shell off, which we didn't quite do, is rinse them off in cold water, crack the egg, put it back in the water, and let the water get underneath the egg.
The shell.
The shell, that's what I mean. So, and apparently we missed that step, and so this is going to be a little bit of a mess. So while Siobhan is taking that apart, I'm going to wash my hands real quick. And I grabbed a secondary bowl because what you need to do first off is you're going to have to separate out the egg and the egg yolk. Yep, there you go. So cut it down lengthwise once, and then what you're going to end up doing is just pop out the egg yolk and then separate it out. You take the other half of your egg, you can put it together if you want, and put it in an egg slicer and be done. You can get real creative if you want. You can do it into smaller pieces, but it's not necessary. And that's it. I mean, the big part is just getting the egg all cut and separated. And the reason for this will be the egg will work, as Siobhan said, as the garnish. And then
The yolk.
I'm sorry, the yolk will be the garnish. It's all an egg.
Yes, but someone wants to know.
Yes, and that's why Mr. SM is a putz at times when it comes to describing things. cook. I'm not an actor. So, but that's it. You just keep popping them out and just slice and put in the bowl. Partly because what's going to end up happening is you're going to start creating a simmer sauce, and the whites of the egg will all make a white sauce. And then once it's done, plus the biscuits are ready to go, you put it all together and you enjoy.
All right. So basically what you do is you separate the yolks from the eggs, and then you're going to cut these up into smaller chunks because this is going to be part of the gravy. You know, you're going to mix it all together, and you're going to need a pot, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Which is right next to you.
Which one do you want?
We'll use the red one.
That narrows it down.
The red one that's directly next to you.
This one?
Yes.
Got it. We'll use the red one. How many red pots do we have? So what the instructions say is cut the whites into chunks of the hard-boiled eggs and set aside.
There, it has been set aside.
Set aside, all right.
You.
Okay, then what you do is you, according to the directions, it says grate finely in a small serving bowl the yolks of the eggs. So you put them in a grater, and this kind of grater has the small holes. And so what you do, what you do is you put the egg in the top of the grater, and this is a fancy schmancy cheese grater that you see at those restaurants, and they get the little tiny shreds of cheese. It works great for eggs.
And I would for this recipe, honestly, I would recommend having one of these if you can, because it's a lot easier to grate an egg this way than to use a little hand grate and try and scrape it, because it's going to just obliterate in your hand. So I mean, this is probably the only specialty item you probably need.
Just to make your life easier.
Yep. And they run anywhere between, like, I've seen them for like $7-8 to like $20. So depending on where you can go, like a Walmart or a Target, you can easily find this. And there's a couple different brands. This one's a Xylus.
Sometimes you can find them. I think we found this one at a garage sale.
Yeah.
People were selling it at a garage sale. So this is the goldenrod part of the egg's goldenrod. It is a garnish. Mm-hmm. You're putting it on top. Okay. Then it says, set those aside. In a quart-sized pan, add butter, and you're going to melt it over medium heat. Just to let you know, 4 tablespoons is actually 1/4 cup. So if you need 6 tablespoons, you need 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons.
Are you sure?
Yep.
I thought it was less than that.
There's 1/4 cup.
Oh, okay. Well, learn something new.
I know, because I end up adding about 1/4 cup to my big cups of coffee. Milk to my big cups of coffee.
Okay. So we're gonna wait for the butter to melt.
Which it's working on.
Yep.
You can break it up. If you want to, you can cut 6 tablespoons if you want to, and just so that it melts faster. But do you want a spoon?
No, I'm gonna want. Yeah, we'll use a spoon, and then eventually I'll migrate to a whisk.
Okay. All right. But with a spoon, you can just that helps it too, because then you can press down on the heat, and it'll help it melt a little faster.
Thank you, beautiful. All right. So the reason you do flour and butter is flour will start to thicken once it adds to the cream. So we're gonna just blend it in. We don't want to brown it too much, but we want to make sort of a blended paste. And then we're going to add in 3 cups of milk. Go ahead and pour it in. And then what you want to do is you want to keep stirring so that you can break up any of the clumps. Why don't we hold off on the 3rd cup until we get the biscuits out, and let's take a quick gander. I will step aside so we can open it up. Let's add the next cup.
You sure you're gonna need it?
Yes.
All right.
Because traditionally it would call just for 2.
I know.
So, wow, perfect. Alrighty.
Yeah, the way we're doing this, it calls for 4 cups of milk.
Yeah. So we'll let it simmer for a moment. And then as it cooks, I mean, there's no clumps of flour and butter. The big concern here is if you don't get it fully blended in, what will end up happening is you will get some clumps
Of flour.
and all of a sudden you bite into your sauce and all of a sudden you go, that's a nice chunk of flour.
It's very dry.
Yeah. I need more water now. So, but we're gonna add it, let it simmer for a little bit, and that will give me a chance to go grab the spices. Now, you can use anything you want. The recipe does call for onions and so forth, and well, I'm out of onions. So, I'm gonna use shallots.
Oh,
instead.
nice. This is going to be
So,
fancy.
so,
Not that this recipe isn't, but
you want to add a little bit of salt to your sauce. You'll add a little bit of pepper. Now, everything is to taste. So, I prefer fresh pepper.
and it adds a nice almost a contrasted look, so that you're not like, so it's white on white, huh?
Yeah. I'll grind some fresh garlic or minced garlic. And because there's not enough, I will throw a little bit of garlic in there. And there are no specific measurements for the amount of spices you throw in. Again, it's all to taste.
It's really to taste.
And
You're trying to make a tasty, flavorful gravy. Ooh, and it's going to be colorful this time. Because the shallots are purple.
Shallots.
I love purple onions.
And shallots are really, really mild as an onion. So you don't have to worry about it having something overpowering. And then, how's it feeling? Is it starting to thicken up? Or not yet.
The reason we're constantly stirring is milk burns pretty easy, and you don't want it to do that.
Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, when the sauce thickens up right before the end, you're going to add in the egg whites, and then just let it come up and thicken just a little bit more.
Do you want some cornstarch? That would thicken it. Just a hint of cornstarch?
If you would like, I mean, that's what the whole purpose of the flour is, but it is gluten-free flour. So let's try a hint of cornstarch. I mean, it is thickening. I can feel it thickening.
Yeah. It's up to you, though. What would you...
Let's throw a small amount of cornstarch in. I would say maybe a teaspoon at the most.
Okay, a full teaspoon?
Yeah, let's do a full.
All right. Cornstarch is gluten-free, so don't worry about adding that.
We made it non-gluten-free by using cornstarch because corn is gluten. Not. To make the sauce as it's thickening, I'm going to say you're probably going to need to stir for probably a good 10 minutes. Because the gluten-free flour doesn't have that spring and thickening like normal flour does. Adding the cornstarch really did help. But as you can see, I mean, it's starting to clump and thick. This is what you're looking for. And so at this stage, we'll add the eggs to it and let it heat up a little more. So when Siobhan hands me the bowl, we'll just add the eggs in, and then we are pretty much done. So let's grab the...
Oh, wow, yeah, it really did thicken up nicely. Nice.
Right, let's...
Do you want to...
Well, I was just going to use the wooden spoon.
Yeah, I just don't want it to slop.
Well, yeah.
Because otherwise it'll splash, and I don't want it to do that. I want it to
Just
kind of go in gently.
blend in the eggs. And the eggs will also give it a lot more resistance. At this stage, you can just pour it all in.
Yeah, because at this point, it's thick enough and it won't splash.
Yep. There we go. And just add in the eggs. Let it heat up just a little bit, but there you go. You have the sauce to your eggs
There's your gravy.
You can take a biscuit or two. Actually, we'll cut these.
Yeah, I think cutting them is a good idea. Usually you can break them apart, but that's with gluten flour.
And I'll use a little one. There you go. Take a little bit of the sauce. And then sprinkle on the egg. That is it. This is eggs goldenrod. This is a recipe a dear friend of ours introduced us to, the McMackins, and so. And
this was one of their brunches. They invited us over one Sunday, and they made this dish, and we're like, can we have that recipe? But yeah, it's basically biscuits and gravy. This one happens to be gluten free, and then you have just the eggs as garnish, and it tastes really good.
Yep. So I think
that's it.
That's it.
All right. So that's a really nice brunch recipe. Well, you could do it for breakfast. It just takes a lot of prep.
Breakfast, lunch, dinner. It's all good.
Yeah, you could eat it for dinner if you'd like. But yeah, boy, it looks really good, and it smells really good. Smell the garlic. Anyway, that's it. Thank you so much for joining us. Definitely ring the bell to find out when there's new videos that go up. Like the channel. Like the video and comment. Let us know if you've tried it, what you modified, what you really liked. If you tried it without gluten-free flour, you could try that too. And yeah, thanks. I think I got everything. Oh, and subscribe to the channel, please. Subscribe to the channel. Add to the algorithm. It's wonderful. Anyway, happy making, happy baking, happy eating, and happy reading. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.